Hi, everyone. Welcome to Kiki and Kibbitz. It's Mary, and I'm here with today's edition of 90 Days and 900 Seconds, The Other Way, Season 4, Episode 4. The eyes do not see what the mind does not want. Whatever the hell that means. If I was going to give this episode a grade, I would give it a C because, besides, honestly, Jen and the whole Rishi thing, and Gabe and the Isabel meeting at the airport, there wasn't much of anything, honestly, but we're going to get into it. So I'm going to set my 900 seconds on the timer, and let's go. So we start off with Jen and Rishi. And Jen is going to meet her fiance finally. After 2 years, it's the long-awaited reunion she's been waiting for. So she's going to take a cab ride for 6 freaking hours, guys. 6 fucking hours. She's going to be in a cab. She's going to his hometown. And I feel sorry for this poor cab driver. From the moment she gets in the cab, she's talking his ear off. And she's like, do you think I'm crazy that I'm going to marry this guy that I haven't seen in 2 years? And the cab driver's like, yes, yes, yes. So after 6 hours, she gets there and they reunite and the sparks fly and they're kissing and whatever. Okay. So Rishi is like living a double life. Okay. So he's like, I can't believe my day is starting off with a lie. I'm going to tell my mom that I'm going to the gym. His mom, like the day starts off and his mom is telling him, oh, I have people coming over today to meet you. And he's like, oh, if I could finish up my day at the gym early, I'll come back and meet them. His mom has like a woman coming over to meet him to possibly play matchmaker, and he's going to go meet Jen. So he gets to the apartment, they're like sparks flying. They're so happy to see each other. And he shows her the apartment. There's roses in the bedroom. She's like, oh my goodness, where did you think of this great romantic idea? And this is like Submit 2.0. I swear. He's like checking his watch. He's like, I have to, keep track of time. I got to get back home. And Jen is like, I wouldn't be so comfortable with you spending the night with me anyway, because I kind of want to wait until we get married to have sex, because why buy the cow if you could get the milk for free? And Rishi's kind of looking at her like, what the hell are you talking about, lady? We've already had sex. And he says that to her. He's like, but what's the difference? We've already been intimate. And she's like, yeah, well, I just, don't want to have sex yet. And she says in her confessional, great sex clouds your judgment. Well, lady, I think great sex already clouded your judgment, considering that you moved to another damn country for it. But that's just me, just saying. Okay, so now it's the next day, and she is literally sitting in the apartment in her coat and her hat. And she's like, there's basics missing from this apartment, like heat, towels, toilet paper. I didn't have a good night, a first good night in this apartment, people. Okay. So she's like, Rishi, that was like his only job, was to like make sure that I had basics like a blanket, toilet paper, towels, like basic shit. But, so then we see Rishi on his little motorbike, and he's heading over there with yoga mats. Listen, the chick doesn't have toilet paper to wipe her ass. Is she going to wipe her ass with the yoga mats? He gets there with a little tiny heater, and she's like, oh, thank God for the heater. And the yoga mats, he wants to show her yoga. Okay, so she goes up to the roof, and he calls it acro yoga, which I actually need to check with my girl Brianna, who is the expert on yoga, about this. Okay. And he says that this type of yoga promotes intimacy between partners. All I have to say is the pose that she was doing looked like the Superman pose. And as I attempt to get up to do this for you guys, my cat is beneath my feet. So forgive me as I try to do this. So she's like, I'm heavy. Are you sure you're going to be able to hold me up? And he's like, I know you are, but trust me. At that moment, I swear, if any man tells me, I know you are heavy, first of all, he would have got kicked in the balls and I would not have let him pick me up. Fuck you. Okay. So this is the pose, basically. She was like this. I'm not going to try to lift myself up to show you guys, but it was basically the Superman pose. And she's on his knee. Okay. So this is acro yoga. And it's supposed to promote intimacy. So she asks him if he's hooked up with any of his clients, because, you know, she's like uneasy because of the ideas that her friends put in her head before she left. And he's like, you know, I've been so fully immersed in my work, I wouldn't even have time to. I've only, you know, engaged in complimentary conversations with my clients online, nothing flirtatious whatsoever. Okay, next scene. They go to a shop where Rishi is going to help Jen pick out an outfit because Rishi is going to introduce Jen as a friend to his family, but he wants her to be dressed in like traditional Indian attire. Okay, immediately she walks in there and she's like, no, 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 no. But I want to talk about the shop employee. Okay, so we have the salesman and then we have the shop employee. So the salesman's like, okay, how about this? And there is literally this guy that he dresses up in the freaking thing. The guy is like, the look on his face is like, I should put my resume out there. I don't get paid enough for this shit. He was like dressing him up in the freaking outfits. I mean, it was priceless. He was holding them up against the guy. At one point, Jen was like, I love that on him. And Rishi was like, on him? And Jen was like, yes, I love it on him. On me, it would be horrible. And Jen was like, if I show up to your family's house during the day in these beautiful, elegant, elaborate, traditional Indian wear, don't you think that your family might think I'm more than just a friend? Just a thought, Rishi. Don't you think they may just think I'm more than just a friend? Rishi, no. We're just going to introduce you slowly. Jen is like, I only have 4 months on my visa. And Rishi's like, you don't understand. We have to do this slowly because, you know, if my family gets upset, they could force me under house arrest or something. And Jen is like, what? And she actually burst out laughing because to her, that sounded so ridiculous that a grown man could be forced under house arrest by his family. Well, obviously, she has not watched 90 Day Fiance because then she will be familiar with Jenny and Sumit because Sumit was kidnapped by his family and forced in an arranged marriage while Jenny was in India. Like, hello, where the hell has she been? So anyway, then she realizes during this conversation that the whole thing, it's bothering her that they have to lie about their relationship. Now it's bothering you. Now, after you move to a whole nother damn continent, it's bothering you. Okay, Jen, you should have thought of this before you freaking left Oklahoma or wherever the hell you're from. So anyway, moving on to the only couple that gives me any hope this season, Gabe and Isabel. So, first of all, I would like to say I totally condone the idea of bringing Nerf guns to the airport. Her kids were so excited. It was so heartwarming. Her son was like jumping out of his skin, like, yay, we're finally going to get him. Yay. And when he came out and he was like, mi amor, I swear, her daughter nearly beat her to him. Like her daughter was running side by side with her mother. And I swear her daughter like reminded herself, wait, step back, let mom get to him first. I swear her daughter would have got to him first and knocked him over. That's how happy everyone was to see him. And it was so heartwarming. And you could tell this was not scripted. This was from the heart. And honestly, I feel in my gut they're going to make it. Yeah, they're going to have their bumps. There's going to be drama, of course, because nobody's perfect. No relationship is perfect. And we're going to see their drama and their bumps on screen, and they're going to play it up and they're going to make it seem more than what it is because, of course, entertainment purposes, if it's boring, we wouldn't want to watch it. And of course, Gabe is the first transgender cast member. So, hey, but they have to give the drama or it would be boring and nobody would watch it. But this couple's going to make it. So they have this wonderful scene in the airport. Everyone is so happy. I mean, he was hugging Sarah, it's Isabel's daughter. They were jumping up and down with joy. I mean, I was crying. All I have to say to all I have to say to Isabel and Gabe is fuck you in the nicest way because you guys had me crying. Okay. So he shows Isabel his new Isabel tattoo and the cover up and the look on her face and forget it. I was like sobbing. So they all leave. They go off. Then the next day, Isabel and Gabe are out on the street and they're trying Colombian street food. And she tricks him into trying cow intestine. The look on his face, you thought he was going to die. Hysterical. They're cute. They're a cute couple. And they just basically discussed that Sarah knew, her daughter knew from day one that he was transgender. She knew the minute that Isabel knew, and Gabe was like, wow, because he didn't know that. And it never changed the way Sarah treated him. But of course, there's the concern about Isabel's parents. So there's the dun 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 factor, and we will see how this plays out. And of course, Gabe has limited time on his visa, and he has to propose, get the blessing, marry her, and all this other good stuff. So, of course, there's the dun 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 factor. But my gut, it's all going to be good. So, moving on to another couple that my gut is telling me that will not be all good. Who child? Jeymni and Kris. So they wake up their first morning in Colombia. The booby pillows are put up on a shelf. Disappointed. I was expecting them to be right in the booby pillows, but no, they were put up on the shelf. So they need to go to a pharmacy to get Kris's basics. Okay. So they need toothpaste without mint in it because Kris has a mint allergy. Did you know this? Neither did Jeymni. So Kris needs to get toothpaste without mint. Then Kris decides to give Jeymni a lecture about money because Jeymni got this apartment without consulting with her. It's $100 more a month. Jeymni tells her, I can go to work. I could go back to work. She's currently on vacation from her job, and they get into this whole discussion about money. And Jeymni is just sitting there kind of looking at her like, okay. Then they go to the pharmacy. So she gets her bubblegum toothpaste, a necessity when you're allergic to mint. And then it turns out she needs pain medication. And she tells Jeymni her whole story. I'm sorry. Yeah, she tells Jeymni her whole story about her neck. She had a broken back and she broke her neck in 2 separate car accidents. She had surgery on her back, and then coming home from the back surgery, she was re-ended and her neck was broken. So she has been dealing with chronic back and neck pain for, I think she said over 12 years, but at least over 10 years. Okay. And she needs this pain medication. I read online that it was hydrocortisone, that it was oxycortisone that she was buying online. Okay. It was Oxycontins that she was buying online. Basically, I read online that she was buying in that pharmacy oxys, but don't know if it's true. Don't quote me on it. So she needed pain medication. And she's explaining to Jeymni the whole story. And she's explaining that how eventually she will need this complicated neck surgery. Jeymni is looking at Kris. Oh, I'm out of time. Jeymni is looking at Kris like, I didn't know the extent of this. You told me you had some neck and back pain, but I didn't know that you were going to eventually need this extensive neck surgery that was going to require you having an apparatus and screws and rods and you not being able to turn your head for a year. So Jamie's kind of looking at her like, this is interesting. So Jamie's just kind of like, between the narcolepsy, the mint allergy, now the neck and the back pain, it's kind of like, what's next? I just kind of have to process all this. I just met her, and it's like one thing after another. So, dun 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 to the dumpster fire. And now moving on to another dumpster fire, we have Nicole and Mahoon. Within 5 minutes of landing, she's already like annoyed at him because he made a comment about her blouse and her jacket. So Mahoon lives with his mother. His mother is the matriarch of the family, and there's like 100 people that live in the house. Okay. His brother lives upstairs with his wife and 3 kids, and the brother's like constantly there. The other brother comes over with his kids. The sister comes over. So they're basically people in and out of the house all the time. Okay. Nicole, the independent American who's used to living alone, is now moving into this place where it has constant noise, constant people, kids, this and that. So she walks in and there's already like 20 relatives in the living room. And she's had like a 16-hour flight. She's exhausted. And they're like, Nicole's here. Say hi to Auntie Nicole. And they're offering her fried potatoes. She's not a fried foods person. And it is just like, Nicole, honey, I'm sorry. Egypt is not going to change for you. They're not going to change their culture. They're not going to change their customs. They're not going to change their beliefs just for you. Okay? They're not going to change their diet. They're not going to change the way they cook. Okay? Like you say, they cook a lot of fried foods and it's very delicious. Your body can't handle it. Honey, this is not going to work. Stop it already. Stop playing with Mahoon's emotions. Okay. The guy obviously loves and cares for her a lot. And I'm going to call a spade is because he was a virgin and he hooked up with her and she must have did some tricks on him in the bedroom because he is like starry-eyed, head over heels in love with her. Okay. And he just does not want to argue. He does not want to argue because he's scared shitless that she's going to pack her suitcase and go back home. So they're in his mother's house and everybody's like, oh, Nicole, Nicole, Nicole. And she's just like overwhelmed. So Mahoon's sister-in-law, Fatima, is from China. Okay. And she has totally assimilated herself. Okay. She speaks Arabic. She covers herself. She wears a hijab. She does the whole thing. And Nicole is just like, You know, I want to understand how she was able to do it. It's called assimilating yourself to the culture that you're living in, okay? She moved to Egypt, she married an Egyptian man, and she made a conscious decision that she was going to live the Egyptian way. That's how she did it, Nicole, okay? She did not expect the whole society to conform to her. Like, oh my God, this girl gets under my fucking skin. So then her and Mohammed go into the bedroom because she's overwhelmed, she's tired. So then she tells Mohammed, I'm sorry, Mahoon. Oh my goodness, that was a Freudian slip. She tells Mahoon that the rules are too rigid. A girl, didn't you do your research? What is wrong with you? Clothes are an important expression of herself. And, once she realized really what Islam was all about, she realized she couldn't do it. Then stop playing with this man's emotions and just bail out already and leave him alone. That's all I have to say. She's like getting on my last nerves. Even he said it. The first time they were in Egypt, she lived in Egypt. They had their own apartment, and after 2 months she left because she didn't like it. So whether they're in their mother's house, which he's hoping that this is going to be, a way of her assimilating, because she'll be around family and they could help her learn the language, and maybe she could go out with her sister-in-law and do things and things like that. Then her being alone in her own apartment like they were the first time. But of course, she's still freaking complaining no matter what, because she's not happy. She expects the whole country to conform to her. Just saying. So now moving on to our last hot mess dumpster fire, because I'm definitely going over 900 seconds. I'm sorry. We have Debbie and Osama. And this is very, very brief. Debbie and her son are going to the attorney's office because Debbie is going to draw up a prenup. And as her son is driving to the attorney's office, he is seriously thinking about doing an into the retirement home and signing his mother in there, because he's done think his mother's lost her mind. Okay. And they're driving to the attorney's office and there's a thunderstorm. He's like, Mom, isn't this a sign? Okay. It is like God is crying, telling you not to do this. So she's doing a prenup because she wants her son to know that she does have his best interests at heart, even though she's leaving next week and she's going to marry a guy that's like 26, okay, 24, or whatever the hell old he is. So the attorney suggests just to do a joint trust account, put some money in it. Even the attorney's looking at her like, bad idea. The attorney, whose office looks like it was decorated from Home Goods, is looking at her like, don't you know this is a bad idea, lady? But, Debbie swears that she's going to live her happily ever after. Everything's going to be all good. And Jordan is just getting angrier and angrier by the minute. And that is basically it. So let's see what happens next week. Let's see if Rishi convinces Jen that, he's going to convince his family that she's just a friend. And we'll take it from there. Let's see what happens with Gabe meeting Isabel's family. And Nicole, stop expecting Egypt to change for you. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you don't already. Please check out my online publication, wordonthestreetreality.com, for all of the 90-Day Fiancé and Love After Lockup tea you want. Please share my video with a friend or 10 and hit that like button. Thank you so much. See you next week. Bye.